Hello everybody, welcome to the Just Passing Through podcast. As you can see, I'm outside today. I'm outside in Zushi, just to show you what it's like behind me. This is episode 156. Now, for them watching on YouTube, I'm just going to show you where I am. So right in front of me there is a pub, a bar called Surfers. It is great in the summer there. A great little bar to go watch live music and to go there as the sun goes down on a night. If I just pan round to the left, you've got a little stone monument there that lets you know where you are. You give a bit of a nod to it as you go out kayaking or sailing to make sure you come back safe. Across the bay, across Zushi Bay there, you've got Hayama Marina, where all the rich and the famous keep their yachts, especially busy this time of year. Now, the sea is not at its greatest today. There's a bit of algae getting kicked up, but it's usually pretty clear. And across there, you sort of get into the outskirts of Zushi, and there is the beach. Full of beach bars at the moment and full of tourists. That is why I've sort of come out of the town a little bit, and I'm sat on some little stone steps. I'm sat on some little stone steps just outside of Zushi. We just put that up a little bit. Now, the reason I've come here today to show you where I live, and the reason I'm outside is because I go on holiday tomorrow. I go on holiday and I give all this up. I give all this fantasticness up for 2 weeks in Bradford, West Yorkshire, the United Kingdom. Yeah, paradise for paradise. You fucking what? Yeah, so what I usually do in the summer is I don't work. July and August, I just pack it all in for the summer and I enjoy this. I'll get up in the morning, I'll get straight out on my bicycle or I'll get straight out on my kayak. I'll come back, I'll have breakfast with the kids. The kids will then either go off to a football club, my daughter will go and meet up with her friends. My wife will go to work because she has to work in the summer. And then I'll go and I'll either have a cycle or I'll have a kayak. I'll do the opposite of what I did as the first activity in the morning. Come back early afternoon, have a bit of a siesta, and then in the evening I'll do some kettlebells. So by the time September rolls round, I am fucking buff. Like Fabio from 80s. I'm looking great. Now, during those 6 to 8 weeks that I have off, I don't have to. I like to go and see my dad. Now, my dad's pushing, well, he's 83 now, so I don't know how many of these summers he's got left. He flatly refuses to come here for a month and spend time with family because he's too frightened. So I have to pack up, grab the kids, and fly halfway across the world to spend a fortnight in Bradford. Now, what I usually do is as soon as I get there, I'll throw everybody in the car and I'll go drive to some nicer part of the UK, for example, Cornwall, down in the south of England. I'll go down to Brighton, or last year I went to Belgium, Holland and France. Now, last year my dad kind of had a bit of a fucking meltdown when it come to all that. So this year, I'll just put it down there, it keeps falling over with this stand. So this year he decided, no, I'm not doing that this year, we'll stay put. So I've booked a hotel in Bradford for 2 weeks. Now, I leave tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the evening. I'll go from Haneda Airport, which is the city airport in Tokyo, and then I'll fly down to Singapore. That's a 7-hour flight. And then I'll get on a flight in Singapore and I will spend 13 and a half, yes, that's right, 13 and a half hours on a plane back to Manchester. Now, the only reason I'm having to do Singapore is because at the moment nobody's allowed to fly over Russia because of all that shit that's going on in Ukraine. So I've got this big ass flight coming up. Now, what we usually do is we usually break it up in Dubai. So you do a 7 and a 7. So you have a 7-hour flight to Dubai, you have a look round, you have a night in Dubai, and then you've got a 7-hour flight back to Manchester. That's what I did last year. So we had a full day in Dubai. Me expecting that we'd all get some kip on first flight when we were flying to Dubai, and then I could show the kids what it were like in Middle East. Well, that didn't work out because we got to Dubai. I got into the hotel. I said, right, come on, kids, I want to show you something, and they just passed out. They just passed out on beds and had a kip, the bastards. So that didn't work out. So I said, right, this time we'll do it non-stop. I just booked it. And then I looked at the length of the flight and thought, oh, shit. So what I've got to try and do tomorrow is stay awake until 3 o'clock in the morning, Singapore time. And then as soon as I start nodding, I'm hoping I'll get at least 6 hours on that Manchester flight. By the time I wake up, I should be somewhere over the Middle East, maybe Dubai, Syria, somewhere like that. And then I can just sort of arse about with some breakfast, get some work done on plane, and then we'll be landed in Manchester. That's the plan. That's the plan. Now, why, you might ask, would I give this up for Bradford? Well, let me tell you. I get 3 big holidays every year. Summer, Christmas, and back end of March, early April. Now, that's 3 times. For them of you who have been to England in the winter is fucking depressing. That sun is down at 3:30. So I wouldn't want to go back to England in the winter. No chance. You go back in the spring, it can be snowing, it can be raining, it can be like the middle of summer. You've got no chance of knowing what the weather's going to be like. Now, my dad being my dad and the age that he is, he's not going to want to go anywhere. So I've got to stay in Bradford. So the reason I choose 2 weeks in the summer is Bradford never looks good, but the best that it does look is in the summer. So that's the best time for me to go. At least it'll be warm. Even if it's pissing it down, it'll be warm. So you can more or less get away with wearing shorts all the time. So that's why I go in the summer. Now, every month here in Zushi, you get a pretty thick, not a pamphlet, but it's like a 30-page magazine, and it tells you what's on. Now, this year, this August, let me just pan round there. So you can see there's the windsurfing schools there. There's so many people out windsurfing. You can go out on fishing trips from Zushi, from Hayama Marina. There's all the beach bars and restaurants on the beach at the moment. There's lots of activities to do at the beach. There's an aqua park of inflatables out in the bay there. The kids can jump about on that. And there are so many activities that are going on in and around Zushi in August that the kids are never at a loose end. It's just like, it's pretty much like it is during the rest of the year. You know, they've always got after schools that they're going to. They've always got sports clubs to go to. But all that after school stuff shuts down. So what they do is the schools get in contact with people around Zushi or all around Japan. And the kids have always got something to do. That's why there's no robbing of houses. There's no cars getting stolen here because the kids are always busy. They ain't got time to be fucking about nicking car stereos. Plus they've got more respect than that. So the crime rate don't go up here. I remember when I was in Spain, I think I say crime rate don't go up. 2 people got knifed and killed on this beach here back in 2011, 2012. But it was the Yakuza. It was the mafia. It wasn't the locals. It was just the mafia coming down and flexing the muscles. But apart from that, there's been no crime around here. Now, what I did yesterday was I looked on the Visit Bradford website because I'm kind of in a reverse vacation holiday. When you go on holiday from wherever you are in the world, you come to somewhere like this. It's a fucking paradise. It's the perfect place to have a summer holiday. You've got the mountains, you've got the beach, you've got the bars, you've got the restaurants. It's nice for families. There's swimming pools you can go to. You come here on holiday. Now, when you live somewhere like this and you're an expat, most expats I've met always move from somewhere shite to somewhere like this. I'm no exception. The only exception with me is it took me 12 years to find this. I left England, 12 years? No, it didn't take me 12 years. Yeah, it took me 12 years. I left England in 2002 and I went looking for somewhere that I want to spend the rest of my life in. I looked around South America, Europe, Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, looked all over the place. I lived in Tokyo. I thought Tokyo was going to be the place to live. I went and lived in Spain for 3 years. I came back and I moved here. And I don't want to move anywhere else. So it took me a long time to find a place where I want to live and I don't want to go away from. So when I do have to go home, back to Bradford, I don't want to do it. Now, I looked on the Visit Bradford website. Now, if you go on Visit Zushi, or you just Google Zushi, there's so many activities to do here. There's so much stuff you can do on the water or in the mountains or cycling on the roads. There's fucking loads of stuff, loads of places to visit. You go on the Bradford website. Now, I'm going back with an 11-year-old kid. Now, thank fuck, I can put him in a football camp 3 days a week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm just going to drop him off in a football camp. He'll be playing football with a couple of English mates that he made over in Bradford, and he'll be able to use his English because he's not going to be able to use Japanese because his sister's not coming this year. Yeah, my daughter last year said, nope, I've got my high school entrance exam to be studying for, which, I mean, she will study for it, but I think that were a blessing in disguise for her because last year when she went back to Bradford, you could tell that she didn't want to go anymore. So when I looked on the Visit Bradford website, what can you do when you've got kids? Visit Bolinghall Museum. With a 12-year-old? I've no idea what a 12-year-old from Japan is going to find fun about visiting Bolinghall Museum. It's a something century hall that a load of inbreeders lived in while the rest of us shit munchers had to work in mills so they could fucking live there. Why would I want to take him there? The Industrial Museum, I suppose it would be very interesting for somebody who lived in Bradford to go and see what it was like when you had to toil away 150 years ago. It'd be interesting for me, but I'm fucking 53 years old. Why the fuck would I want to go there? You know, and it's just like visit parks. Do this, do that. There's nothing really for kids to do. So you can see why you're walking past a car and you see a car radio. Well, I can nick that, get 20 quid for it and buy myself some speed. That would be a good idea. So you can see where all this crime comes from. Now, because you're not getting the weather like this, it's fucking, I'm sat out in 38 degree heat today. I mean, we're just past lunchtime now. It's about 3 or 4 o'clock, well, it's about 3:30, and the temperature's starting to drop off a bit. You're not going to get weather like this constantly for the 2 weeks I'm going home for in Bradford. So I had a look on the Visit Bradford website, and it said rainy days. What can you do with kids on rainy days? Now, I shit you not, one of the options to do in Bradford on a rainy day, and it said it with no irony whatsoever, was hop on a bus. Hop on a bus. Hop on a bus. There's only one thing worse than hopping on a bus in Bradford, and that's hopping on a bus in Bradford when it's fucking raining. When it's raining, get on a bus with your kids and go fucking where? They just get on a bus, go on a bus ride. I'm sure it's not a fucking saver strip that you get now, Kachinga saver strip, but you get yourself a West Yorkshire pass and you hop on a bus, so you can take in the sights of Dewsbury or Pontefract. Get yourself over to Castleford and see what it's like. See what it were like living in the 1950s. Hop on a bus. I couldn't believe it. The last time I hopped on a bus, I was living in Spain, and I'd knocked my girlfriend up, and she were in Japan, and I had to go home and sign a register in Bradford to say that I were getting married to a foreigner. Now, I have no idea why this law is being put into place, but I had to leave Spain, I had to fly to Bradford, sign in at the register office in Bradford to say that I were marrying a foreigner, and then I had to stay in Bradford for a month. I don't know what sort of fucking torture that was, but I had to stay there for a month in November, and then I flew back here at the back end of November. So for that month, but when I flew back to England from Spain, I'd been in Spain, I'd taken out a family kayaking the night before. I was tanned. I mean it was the start, it was late October, early November. I was tanned up. I'd taken a family out. The summer season had finished. I'd packed my kayaks away, and then I flew off to Bradford. I got off the plane. It were late on at night, so I slept at my friend's house, and then I caught a bus from Leeds to Bradford. That was the last time I hopped on a bus. And there were people travelling from Pudsey into the middle of Bradford to go work there. I can still remember that bus ride because I just remember it as being one of the most depressing things that's ever happened to me in my life. I got on bus. It was one of them days where it were raining, obviously, looking north of England, and all of the inside of the bus windows were full of condensation. So I'm sat there with my tan. There's people looking at me and scowling at me. I don't know if they thought, look at this foreigner, or they thought, how's that bastard afford to go on holiday this time of year? And there were people coughing. Could see a couple of people dying for a cig. And then off we went. We went along Ring Road, and it got up towards the top. I thought, I'm just getting off here. I'm getting off here, and I walked home the rest of the way. I walked home. So that was the last time I hopped on a bus. But to hop on a bus in Bradford for fun, is that all you've got to offer? Bradford, come on, up your fucking game. Now, I will be going home in 2024, August 2024. Next year, Bradford will be the European City of Culture. And I say that with a little snigger in my voice. City of Culture. City of Culture. Now, you've heard me bang on about Bradford. I don't think once in my life have I twinned the word culture and Bradford in the same sentence, apart from laughing at the fact that they've got the City of Culture. So hopefully they'll have something on as a prequel to that. I know they've sorted out the Alhambra. The Alhambra was a big old 1930s building that they just let to go to rack and ruin. Beautiful building, and it just ended up going to shit. And they've sort of refurbed that. I'm hoping that'll be back to its former glory. I can go have a look at that. Beatles played there, for fuck's sake, and Stones. So I'm hoping that that's back to its former glory. But I'm not holding my breath. They say they're going to build a roof on Odsal. Fucking come on. Play the fucking game. They're fucking lying to me. I don't think that'll happen. But a positive thing while I'm at home. I take off tomorrow. I get back into England on Tuesday, and then the football season starts the following Friday. So because it's just me and the lad, I won't have any complaints from my daughter because she's not coming. So what I'm going to do, me and the lad are just going to be out watching football. So that'll probably take my mind off me being in England. It'll probably take my mind off the fact that I've given all this up for 2 weeks. I've given all this up for 2 weeks, but the positives. I'm going to see my dad, always a positive, because I don't know how long he's got left. I'm going to see my mates. I only get to see them once a year, and sometimes they use them 2 weeks to go on holiday because it's the only time they get off with their kids. So there's some of my friends I've not seen for years and years. So I'll be able to see some of them. We'll be able to go to the football together, go for a drink, have something to eat. But yeah, reconnecting with my friends and seeing my dad. Watching football with the lad. It's just me and the lad. We haven't been on holiday by ourselves together since northern Thailand. So I'm hoping it's not going to be as bad as I think it's going to be. And I'm going to take my new t-shirt. I don't know if you can see. It says Zushi local on the back. Now I always wear this in the summer because I don't want the people of Zushi to think I'm a tourist that just comes down here and makes a fool of myself. I'm sure the locals have seen me about this past 13 years enough to know that I live here, but I do put this on every summer just so people know I'm a local. And the tourists that do come down here that are British usually behave themselves. It's not like the tourists that you get going to Spain. I mean, when I moved over to Spain and lived there for 3 years, I had to move away from the beaches because the very lowest of the low go on holiday to the beaches in Spain, and you've just got to get away from them. And hopefully when I go back to Bradford, those people I'm talking about that go to Spain, they'll be in Spain, so I won't have to see any of them. Anyway, this is episode 156, the episode where I give up this for a bit of Bradford. So I will see you shitside very shortly. I'm sorry that this episode was a bit late, but I've had to sort out passports, cases, money. So there will be a podcast early next week from a colder, wetter, more depressing place. But I'll throw a bit of sunshine on it for the next podcast. So I'll see you when I see you.